How is circumstantial evidence used in arson cases? Imagine trying to solve a mystery where no one saw the crime happen. That's often the challenge in arson cases, where direct evidence is rare. Instead, investigators piece together clues from the scene and other indirect facts. Circumstantial evidence becomes the main tool to build a case. It includes physical signs like burn patterns on walls and floors that suggest how the fire started. For example, if burn marks are concentrated near a specific spot, it might indicate an accelerant was used. Forensic analysis can detect flammable substances like gasoline or kerosene, which point toward arson. Fire investigators also look at the origin of the fire, trying to determine if it started in an unusual way or location. Behavioral evidence plays a role too. If the suspect was seen near the property just before the fire or acted suspiciously afterward, that raises questions. Sometimes, people try to flee the scene or hide evidence, which can be a sign of guilt. Motive is another piece of the puzzle. For instance, if someone had a financial reason to burn the property, like collecting insurance money, that can be important evidence. Past threats or disputes over the property can also be relevant. Witnesses might not have seen the fire being set but could have seen the defendant near the scene or acting strangely. Expert fire investigators interpret physical evidence and give opinions on whether the fire was intentionally started or accidental. Since no single piece of circumstantial evidence can prove guilt alone, the law requires that all the clues together make a strong, logical case. The evidence must be convincing enough to rule out reasonable doubts. From a defense point of view, this reliance on indirect evidence opens opportunities to challenge the case. Defenders might question whether the fire was caused by electrical issues or natural causes rather than arson. They could dispute the presence of accelerants or how they were tested. Witness statements can be challenged if they are based on assumptions or are inconsistent. Defense attorneys also look for alternative explanations for the fire, such as accidental causes. They might argue the defendant had no motive or was not at the scene at the time. Showing that procedures in the fire investigation were flawed can also weaken the prosecution's case. Because proving arson requires showing that the fire was set intentionally and maliciously, circumstantial evidence must meet a high standard. It's often the main evidence in these cases, but it's important to scrutinize every detail and consider other possibilities. This way, the defendant's rights are protected and the case is fair.